It's time for something new. It's time for a road trip. After all the success that this channel has received these last 6 months, I need to pull out the big guns. And what better way to do that than make something that this channel has never seen before? Something so out of left field that even I'm hyped for my own series, and something so out of left field that you're probably questioning how this is even possible. Introducing Panda's Summer Road Trip, and as the name and trailer suggests, it's a vlog series about a road trip. Ain't that obvious? I want to keep most of this series a mystery, because for one, this is completely new territory for me as a creator, and two, I genuinely want to surprise you as viewers on what's to come. As seen in the trailer, the series is set to premiere on Friday, July 8th at 10 AM Pacific Standard Time, running every 2 days after this until it finishes. No, this is nowhere near as big as Nostalgia Month's 12 videos, it's going to be a lot smaller. You can kind of think of this in the same size as how Minecraft for this year is going right now, as the series is roughly going to span about 4 videos in total. This is, literally, as I'm saying this, the first original series this channel has had since Mod Gear Season 2 in 2020, and it's on a topic that I've never done before. This is a pretty big deal, and doing all of this has been quite the challenge compared to pretty much anything that I've put out in the last 2 years. The trailer is now out on its own as a standalone video, so if you want to go watch it, please do so. Okay, let's get to the actual update now that I've made pretty much the most insane announcement that I think I've made in quite a hot minute. So hey guys, guess what? It's June! We're halfway through 2022, and it's been a pretty crazy year so far. We've reached 1,000 subscribers, celebrating that with Nostalgia Month, and now Panda Summer Road Trip joining into the picture. It's pretty insane how the last 6 months have ended up going. This update is going to be much like the previous update that you saw back in March of this year, kind of just doing a catch-up on everything that was mentioned back in March, whilst also discussing a couple of new things, and the most important, discussing what the second half of this year, Q3 and Q4 of 2022, is currently looking like at this time. I have rambled on a bit too long already, even though it's only been a few minutes, and even with dropping a new series on you just moments ago. So with that, let's get into it by starting off with some music that you'll be able to find in Summer Road Trip. Let's begin with a recap on some of my thoughts of Nostalgia Month from earlier this year, which, to put it blunt, it was an absolute success. I mean, sure, April did favor commentated videos over everything else, but I kinda think that's what made Nostalgia Month a bit better than most other things I've done. Yes, we had some heavy hitters, like Forza Veteran for example, popping over 1,000 views, and even Universe Sandbox saw some mild success. There were some downs however, like some videos having to have audio needed to be muted or trimmed out, this mainly showing during the Forza Veteran episode. And many new editing techniques have also been learned both in April's videos and many more after April's videos had gone out, dating back most likely as far back to February and March as to when these video techniques were being implemented. And trust me when I say that I wish I could have implemented these a lot sooner. But hey, that's not saying that these videos are bad. In fact, they're some of the best videos I've made in many months. Overall, I plan to do Nostalgia Month again in the future. However, Nostalgia Month is not kind of a thing that I'm going to do once per year. Nostalgia Month is on hold and or, in this case, reserved for special occasions, whether that's being subscriber milestones, special events, or collaborations, etc. I kind of want to make Nostalgia Month feel more special and unique rather than just being a yearly celebration like, say, an update video is every 3 months. Because after all, if I did Nostalgia Month every year, it would get kind of stale pretty quickly. Moving forward then, to elaborate on points made in previous Pandaren updates, let's kick it off with the big elephant in the room. That being, financial instability. So, how has it improved, or worsened, since March 3 months ago? And it's hard to say. Well, compared to March at least, I would say that it's actually worsened in ways, or more accurately, a lot of different ways. In very minor ways, however, it has improved. And as we head into third quarter 2022, the hottest part of the year, that financial status is only going to worsen simply due to things like the insane heat of 110 degrees Fahrenheit or more, higher gas prices, and just straight up inflation being added into the picture. So with this, let's revisit the famous chart and walk through quickly how steps are being taken to basically make this image eradicate itself entirely. Let's start with hardware limitations, and steps are being taken mostly in the form of looking for, well, new hardware, which I would hope to have running roughly before fourth quarter starts, or maybe in first quarter next year. Am I saying that I can spend large amounts of money on a PC or something? Absolutely not, because if that was the case, then, well, financial instability probably wouldn't even really be an issue at that point. I would have to spend some money, an emphasis on some, and I mean, heck, even my current system that I'm making this very video on, it only cost maybe, I don't know, $300 maybe 5 years ago, so that should give you an idea of kind of budgets I'd be working with. I'll continue to update this progress over time, whether it's probably through Twitter, let's completely honest, it'll probably be through Twitter, but most likely it'll also be through a video of some description of doing new things with those hardware, whether it be building and assembling it or testing it, and that's assuming that I actually get new hardware. Software limitations is now tricky to define, as well, in a way, it's limited by hardware limitations. But for right now, let's just assume what we have working with, which mainly just ties into Xbox Game Pass and Steam Family Sharing. When you pull the two things together, it's actually pretty impressive to see that we have a pretty large pool of content to surf in. So content isn't really so much of an issue, and software limitations in general is not an issue right now. However, I do want to expand that content to more current generation titles to try and reach a wider audience with the newest in the gaming world. So to a degree there's limitations, but at least in the current moment, software limitations have technically improved to a degree. Personal limitations, on the other hand, again, it's personal, have started to improve. I am willing to take much bigger risks than I used to, and that's kind of the entire reason why Panda Summer Road Trip even exists in the first place. My editing has gotten to a point where I feel I could reasonably have high numbers and not be told that I suck, come at me, Keemstar. I'm learning ways to break borders, such as learning how to record my Xbox gameplay, play intensive games, while experiencing stutters, recording cinematic-like videos, and taking older videos and making better videos on them. It's good that we're improving, and it's better that personal limitations are improving, because that only means that the content and this channel will continue to get better and better over time. However, moving into a topic that I thought I would not be talking about, at least probably into fourth quarter, and that is job opportunities. It is something that has been a thought, and I want to preface that it's a thought. It's mostly because I fear that I may not have the funding nor the support to help get to the point where I can fund this channel myself, to get to the point where I want to be on this platform. And to put it blunt, funding this channel has now started to become a question, and I'm now starting to find ways to help do that. But I want to make it clear that I wouldn't even consider anything related to a job opportunity at some point, probably until around the holidays of this year, so that I at least knew what I was up with Collage, which we'll get to here in a moment, and YouTube together. But I want to at least make it aware that, yes, job work, aka ways to fund the channel for the long term, is being considered. And in turn, this would also massively start to help fix that financial instability issue, which would be rather hilarious if I was the one who solved it all, if I was the one that introduced it. In conclusion, financial instability, now that we're wrapping up this segment, has definitely worsened in many ways since March. But steps are being taken to either fix the issues myself, or try to work around them in ways that help benefit this channel. And I'm at the stage now where, coming up on 6 years, I have to start making the calls that are going to help make this channel better, and I'm doing most of this behind the scenes. Moving into the next big point, and that is going to be Collage. and as of June, the plan has changed just a little bit. And assuming it doesn't change, with YouTube and everything else going on, I plan to attend community college for the time being. And well, that's not going to end probably until well into 2023, allowing me to have a pretty good idea of where this channel would be at by then, and if it's worth, dare I say, pouring everything I do now into it. Furthermore, this kinda leads back into financial instability just a little bit, in the sense that financially, affording tuition for a real out-of-state college practically isn't possible, so it leaves community as a good start. But as for now, when it comes to things like scheduling with college as a part of my life entirely with YouTube, that is entirely unknown at this moment in time, and probably won't be confirmed nor touched on probably until September's Pandaren update when 4th quarter begins. So that should give you an idea to make sure to stay tuned for September's Pandaren update, just to know what's coming for 4th quarter when it comes to scheduling. So, putting college, financials, and other things aside, it's time to discuss how the second half of 2022 is going to go down, at least on a current scheduling point. Now typically, I would say this in the form of how Q3 and Q4 respectively are going to perform, and while yes, 4th quarter of this year will be elaborated in depth more in September, I want to at least give you an idea of what's to come in the early stages. Obviously, for 3rd quarter, starting next month, we have Panda's Summer Road Trip coming in early July. And something to note about this series that I forgot to mention earlier is that Road Trip will be using its own specific editing style, modeled off some of the best vloggers on YouTube in recent years, and it's going to be a bit more simplistic than anything else I make, while still incorporating all of the things that you, the viewers, are used to. So trust me when I say that Road Trip's editing is definitely going to stand out. And I want to make it apparent that most gaming content that you're normally used to from other months like May or June is going to be absent from July, mainly due to the Road Trip series. So if you're somebody that comes to my channel expecting 6 or 7 gaming videos a month, July is not going to be big on that at all, with most likely, at least in the current planning, a single Minecraft video, a single Forza Veteran video, and maybe 2, maybe 3 Gamebox videos, respectively, going out throughout the month. Also to note, there is no confirmed or planned Independence Day video whatsoever, simply because, well, I don't want to make one, and Road Trip kinda slots in, defeating that purpose kind of entirely. Brand new for the channel is monthly schedules, and while yes, this first started in May, as of June we're now incorporating this particular schedule format. You'll see these going out on the last day of every month, showing the schedule for what's coming. In this case, on June 31st you'll see July's schedule, and on July 30th or 31st you'll see August's schedule. You get the idea. And the schedules will typically be comprised of multiple images, mainly 2 and potentially 3, with roughly 5 videos and their premiere dates next to them. These schedules are meant to show the confirmed videos that are rolling out for that month. Again, stuff can be changed out at any given time, and other videos may be thrown in if I see fit, so consider it a mostly confirmed schedule of what's going to come out that month. Moving further than that, new games that I've never done before, or even really are being considered as of this time to continue to invent and bring new types of content to the channel as we progress further throughout the year. This year, in a lot of ways, is quite literally the golden year of this channel, and I intend to keep the ball rolling long after the Road Trip series ends later this month in July. Moving into 4th quarter 2022, I'm not going to be talking about a lot of it, since I'm going to be diving a lot more in depth with 4th quarter in September's update, but I'm going to go ahead and give kind of a base idea of what you can expect for 4th quarter here later on. To put it blunt, 4th quarter of this year is going to operate a lot similar to 4th quarter from 2021. I want to be able to have the breathing room, especially since college will be happening at that time. I want to have a lot more breathing room to make content and do schoolwork, so don't be surprised if, for whatever reason, content might slow down a little bit, maybe 5 or 6 videos a month during months like October, November, or December. However, it is already planned that December is going to be a pretty ballers month, including things like a best of 2022 montage that will most likely be releasing at the end of the year, as long as many other videos of more difficult and fun games, such as things like Dark Souls, to the beautiful and bright colors of games like Tunic and Terraria, and many others that are scheduled to go out within October and November respectively. There's planned to be things like Thanksgiving and Halloween specials as well. It's not entirely sure as to what those are going to be yet on games specifically, but they are being planned and looked into. There's also a couple of unfinished and unplanned videos that are currently being worked on and just thought up that could potentially release in fourth quarter 2022, but most likely they'll probably get pushed into next year at some point, depending on if I don't have the materials, the funding, or the proper, editing techniques and games and etc. to make those videos happen. But they are being considered. To put it blunt, fourth quarter is going to operate much similar to fourth quarter from last year, with a bit more of beef to it. Not, so much beef that it feels like first quarter or second quarter of this year, but it definitely is going to have a bit more beef and will stand out compared to other quarters from previous years. And with that basically concludes everything that needs to be said for this Pandaren update. So let's do a brief rundown of everything covered today, because I'm totally original. We discussed and announced Panda Summer Road Trip, a completely new type of series heading to the channel in just a few short weeks, and the very little information that I want to share on the series. I briefly revisited the famous financial instability, touching on some of the things of how it's worsened and improved, as well as touching on Collage, letting you know that, hey, things are going kinda mild at best, but will hopefully improve as we move forward. I also just briefly touched on job opportunities, kind of just saying that, hey, it's a thought, and it would happen most would help fund the channel for the long term. I then gave a general outline of what the second half of 2022 is looking like, with things like new monthly schedules, and letting you know that, hey, fourth quarter is set to be pretty awesome. There is a lot in store for the rest of 2022, and with 6 months left on the calendar, technically more like 5 at this point, I've got a lot of time left to experiment. I want to keep figuring out what works and what doesn't, so that's the idea moving forward, charging towards New Year's later this year. First quarter 2022 was single-handedly one of the best periods on this platform, and I intend to try to recreate that again, or at least replicate it to a degree. And so with that, it's time to end. My name is PandaPowerSauce. Thank you so much for watching this Pandaren update. Make sure to go check out the Panda Summer Road Trip trailer, and make sure to tune in to the next episode of the series in September of 2022. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.